Hello everyone, welcome back to Salesforce Epics Hours. My name is Amit Singh, and this is going to be the very first video of our new series, Salesforce Development with Salesforce Epics Hours. So, before we get started, a quick introduction about me. My name is Amit Singh. Most of you might be knowing me with the name as FDC Panther. So, I have got overall more than 9+ years of experience in Salesforce and MuleSoft. I'm an educator at various platforms like Engineering Ki Pathshala, SFDC Panther, Panther Schools. I have been fortunate enough to get awarded Salesforce MVP 3 times in a row. I've got 21 Salesforce certifications. I'm also leading Salesforce group, Salesforce Architect group here in India. If you want to connect with me, here are the QR codes on your screen that you can see. I would love to connect with you guys over the various social media platforms. So as we talked about, this is going to be the very first video of our series Salesforce development. Here is what we are going to take into this video. That is, what is Salesforce? What is the introduction? How Salesforce has evolved? Then what is Apex? Then how we are going to start slowly putting our foot into the development into the programming languages. We'll learn about few things like what are the data types, what are the operators. Then we are also going to talk about the access modifiers. Then we will start some building blocks like if, else, or for loop. And then at the end of this video, we are going to talk about some tools that you are going to work on a day-to-day basis as a developer. That is what we are going to uh, cover at the end of this video. Starting with what is Salesforce? So you might have already heard the name Salesforce because if you are here, if you're watching this video of Salesforce development course, that means you already know a bit about Salesforce admin, you know what Salesforce is. So Salesforce is a CRM that has been recently, not recently, in the early days of Salesforce, it has been introduced as a CRM platform, which is used by the organizations to manage their sales, their customers, their relationship with the partners, and drive their growth. And Salesforce is a SaaS-based platform. That means Salesforce is a software as a service where you get something pre-built. Like if you wanted to sell something, you get pre-built. If you wanted to provide the services to your customer, like case management or call center kind of thing, then you have got Service Cloud. If you wanted to develop your site on top of Salesforce, you have got Experience Cloud. If you wanted to communicate, if you wanted to market your product, then you have got Marketing Cloud. And because we know that most of the companies have the legacy database and they wanted to get some data into Salesforce, they wanted to integrate. Then we have got the product like MuleSoft Composer, MuleSoft itself. So there are so many products available under Salesforce. So it is a kind of enterprise suite that gives you everything, whatever is needed for your business to run. As we are going to more focus on the development side, not on the business side, we will need a free sandbox. We will need a free developer org, which is free forever. As a developer, we can sign up for our own personal org, and with there we can write whatever the code is needed for us to become a better and better developer. And this org is going to help you throughout your career. So I've created my org in the late 2014, and I've got that org with me today itself. So this org, whatever you are going to sign up, will be your friend forever. So if you don't have an org, if you don't have a Salesforce org, please use this link that you can see in your screen, which is developer.salesforce.com/sign up. And once you open this link, you will see the form something like this, where you will see on the top, it says sign up for your Salesforce Developer Edition, a full featured copy of the platform for free. So it is free. Make sure that you are using the same URL which is there in the PPT because most of the time I've heard back from multiple people where they say that they have signed up, but that is a 30 days trial. So don't go for a trial org. Just use the same URL. Again, the URL is developer.salesforce.com/sign up. You need to use that URL, provide your name, like first name, last name, provide your email, whatever your email is, your role. If you are a student, you can select developer or whatever company. Provide the name of your company if you're working. If you're a student, just put the student as a company name. Select country region, postal code, because these are all the required fields. So you need to provide the details. Now coming back to the important part, which is the username. How you can uh, provide your username is like it should be in the form of email, but it need not to be same as email. For example, if you have an email like amitsingh@gmail.com, if this is your email, you might want it to put something like .apex hours. This is going to be your username, or you can put like amit.singh@apexhours.com. This is going to be your username, or you can say apexhours.com.development. So if you kind of use this, it is going to be easy for you to get the username. It is the reason we are trying to prepare the username here because username has to be unique across all Salesforce developer environment. You can also do it something like that. Your first name dot last name at the apexhouse.com, and you can say keeping it Salesforce or keeping it dev. That's basically going to create a unique username for yourself. Then click on this the agreement. Just go ahead and agree this, because even if you don't agree this, you will not be able to sign it up. And then just click on sign me up. So once you click on sign me up, it will take maybe 3 to 4 or sometimes 5 to 10 minutes as well to get that email landed into your sandbox, into your inbox. And the email will only land in your inbox if your email address is correct. So if your email address is not correct, the email will never be sent to your sandbox. For example, if I have to put my name here, I'm just putting some random information to showcase you, or I'll just say Apex Hours as the company name. I'm in India. State, if you are being asked to provide the state, just provide the state. And I'm just providing a random postal code, and then click on sign me up. So what it will do is it will process your details. If everything is correct, you will get the email after 5 or 7 or 10 minutes. Once you are once you've got the email, please verify your email, provide a password, provide a security answer for that, and then start watching the video. Now you can see here, right? You've got almost there. Please check your email to verify the account. After some time, I'll get that email. Now, let's talk about Apex. What is Apex? We have talked about Salesforce. We got our own Salesforce developer org. Now, let's talk about Apex. What is an Apex? So, Apex is a strongly typed, object-oriented, purely OOPS concept, not OOPS concept. Apex is a pure OOPS programming language. It is an on-demand programming language, and that is developed by Salesforce, managed and maintained by Salesforce, and it is only and only used for Salesforce development. When we say use for Salesforce development, that means we are developing some extra feature on top of Salesforce platform. So you have got your org, and whatever the features are available in your org, you are free to entitle, you can use those features. But if you want additional features on top of that org, then you will have to use Apex as a programming language for the backend system. So that's why it says that Apex is a strongly typed, purely OOPS language that is developed, maintained, and managed by Salesforce. The syntax of Apex is it looks like Java. Most of the things are there, whatever there in Java, most of the things are already there in Apex. So if you are from a Java background or you already know JavaScript, it will be easy for you to understand and start working with Apex. The next thing that comes into the picture is data types. In any programming language, data types are really important concept, and this really plays an important role for us to start working with the programming language. It could be Java, Python, Apex, Salesforce, Apex, Oracle Apex, or anything. It could be anything. Before we dive into the data types, let's take a look into the mathematical equation that says x plus 2y minus 1 equal to 10, where x is it is a numeric integer number. It's a numeric number where y is also a numeric number. And if we solve this equation, the answer of whatever is there on the left side should match with the right side, which is 10, right? So x x here is a variable, which is a type of integer, which is a type of numeric, right? So basically, what I'm trying to explain it here is that variables are used to store the information. And what kind of information is stored into that variable, that is up to us as a developer. And that's why this equation is. Based on this equation, looking at this equation, it is clear that the variable x and y are going to store the numeric data type. So what is the type of the value? What kind of value we want it to store? That is what our data type is. So in case of what if we talk about what is data type is basically uh, in uh, in general term, data type is kind of going to tell you what kind of data you wanted to store in a variable. So data type is used to store the information about a variable, and what kind of data needs to be stored, that is defined by data type. And every programming language has their own data type. And most of the time, those are similar. The syntax could be different, but the functionality and the purpose of the data types is going to be same across all the programming languages. Here are some of the data types that I have listed. Like we've got object. You will get to learn more and you will understand more in the coming videos about the object. We have got a string. A string is a data type which is used to store the information, which is text, which is text in the form. For example, I need to store the name of a person. Then the name of a person is more like into the string format. Even if it is it contains the numeric like Bhaskar 2 or Bhaskar Dati. If there are some name like, or it could be junior or senior or junior 1, junior 2, like that. Even if the name contains the numeric values, it is more going to be aligned with the string data type, with the text, if it is a alphanumeric. Integer is a data type which is going to hold the whole value. For example, you wanted to hold 10 or 100 or 1000 lakhs. It is going to be hold into the integer if there is no fraction. If there are fraction like 10.2, 10.5, then you have got two more data types, which is decimal and boolean. Sorry, decimal and double. Boolean data type is mainly used to store the two values. The Boolean data type has only two values, either true or false. That means if I ask you, are you adult? You will either say yes or no. You cannot say maybe or something. You will say either yes or no, right? That is the Boolean value. If I say, are you working professional? The answer will be yes or no. Are you a student? The answer will be yes or no. So Boolean is going to use to store this kind of values whenever there is a there are only two possibilities of outcome, that is either yes or no. You will use Boolean. Then we have got account contacts as well. These are all the standard objects: account, contact, book. Then we've got list of account, list of contacts, all those kind of things. So there are multiple things related to the data types, but these are the most of the data types that you would be working with. Don't worry about the list of accounts, list of book. There is a separate lecture for collections. So you will be understanding more about list and set and map. So before we actually talk about the operators, I would like to talk one thing about Salesforce, and then we'll talk about how to create the variables in Salesforce, and then we'll come back to operators. So what is that one thing about Salesforce which is really important for us to know is that Salesforce is a SaaS-based platform, and that works or that operates on a multi-tenant platform. When we say that it operates and works on a multi-tenant platform, that means there is a full whole server, and that server is shared by multiple clients. How? Let me give you an example. So you all might have seen a buildings which is 20 story, 30 story, 10 story, 5 story, right? So you all might have seen the buildings which are of multiple stories. The building is owned by a single entity, and there are multiple persons who are living into the different flats or different apartments there inside that building, right? So that building is basically going to be a single unit, and under that building there are multiple people who are living. They could be the owner of that apartment, or they could be living as part of the tenant, right? So whatever the amenities are there, or whatever the, I would say, any kind of facilities are available there, those will be common, and those would be same for every tenant, every owner of that apartment. None of the owner or apartment is going to give a different treatment. So if you need a different treatment, you will have to pay extra, and then you need to get that into your apartment. It could be you buy something from a different vendor and get it installed into your apartment, or you give the money to the person who is the owner of that entity or that building. He or she is going to get that thing done for you. That is the multi-tenant. In general term, there is a building and multiple people are living into the rent. They are living as a tenant. That's what Salesforce says. And because of this multi-tenant behavior, Salesforce has introduced governor limits, which you will be learning about the governor limits towards the end of the course. Now, how the multi-tenant and single tenant works. So if you see it here, right? I've got an image which is an image which I've got from online. It's not our image, not copyright to us. So if you talk about single tenant, there will be a customer, and that customer has developed an application, and that application will have its own database. That application will have own database. That's what the single tenant says. Every customer has its own application, and they will have their own database. It could be in-house database, or it could be they have bought the database from the companies like SQL or Oracle. On the other hand, in case of multi-tenant, there would be multiple customers. They are using the same applications like Salesforce, and that Salesforce is kind of using the shared database. So Salesforce has a database which they have multiple racks into that database. And if you say, I'm going to buy Salesforce, they will say, okay, this particular piece of this storages belongs to you. These are all the limits that are available, and you cannot go beyond the limits. If you want to go beyond the limits, you have to pay extra to us, and then we will give you the extra feature at all if it is possible for them. It's not like always that you pay the money and then they give it to you. If it is possible for them, you pay the money and the feature will be available for you. That is what the multi-tenant platform is. Now, after we understood the concept between single tenant and multi-tenant, I'm assuming that in the meantime, you have got the email into your inbox. You have verified it. Once you verified it, you will see some org. You will be see something org like this. Okay. It could be this, or you might see the screen something like this. There could be two possibilities. First is this one. A second could be you might see the screen like this, where you will have something called this, right? No matter whatever the screen you see, okay, go ahead, click on this gear icon. If you see it over here on the top side, uh, the third icon from the top right, click on this gear icon and then select this developer console. To open the developer console into the new window, use Control in the Windows and Command into the Mac OS. So if you do that, you will open the developer console into the new window. And if you don't use those short keys, then you might see the developer console coming up as a pop-up. Okay, now forget about this, whatever it is. Your developer console will look something like this, a blank. There is nothing into your developer console. Now we talked about creating the variables, how we create the variable, right? So don't bother about this place, what this place is. This is basically called as developer console. And sometimes people or developer prefers developer console to write the code related to Apex or Apex triggers. And sometimes the developers prefer to write the code into the VS Code, which is now modern ways of writing the code. All you need to do is you need to go to debug and select this option called open execute anomalous window. I'm again repeating it. Go to debug and select this option called open execute anomalous window. And your anomalous window will have nothing here. You will see something like this, which is blank. I have already zoomed in this screen so that you can see whatever I'm writing it in a clear way, in a clear syntax, in a clear letters. So we talked about the variables, right? A string or integer or boolean. So let's say you have to store the name of a person. So how you will store or how you will create a variable in Salesforce. And the simple is you need to store the name of person. That's what you need to do. So if you don't know anything, you don't you might not have any answer in your mind as of now. Whenever you need to store any information into your Salesforce, all you need is you need to create a variable. And to create the variable, you need to ask the question to yourself like, what kind of information I wanted to store here? What is the information I wanted to store? In our case, this is the name of the person. And what is the type? Is it numeric? It is Boolean? It is a fraction, a decimal? It is a string? What it is? The name of the person would be always a string. So you will say a string. Then you could give any name. This is the variable name. You could give any name over here. You can say maybe name. And now you have a couple of options here. Either you use the terminator statement, which is semicolon, to terminate the statement, or what you can do is you can use something called as equal. This is the assignment operator, and then use the single quote and assign some name over here, and then use terminator statement. So make sure that whenever you are writing the variable name, your variable must be ending with a terminator statement. Either you are assigning the value or you are not assigning the value. For example, we need to store the age of a person, and the age of a person is integer. So we will say integer age, and we could do something like this. This is both the variable declaration or valid. The only difference it is here that on the first variable, which is on line number 3, we are we are declaring a variable called name, and we are also assigning the value, which is Amit Singh, right? So how it is working? It's a data type. That's what syntax is. Then the variable name. Then it is assignment operator, and then value. That's what the syntax is. Now in Salesforce, you cannot use double quotes. It will always, whatever you want to put as a static value, it will always be within single quotes, not double quotes. That is not supported in Salesforce. Now, if you wanted to see this information into the log, that is for the developers only. Most of the time, developer would like to know what is the value for this variable or what is the value for this age when your code is executing. You can use something called, don't bother about as of now much, just say system.debug and put the name like this. If you put like this, you will see the value over here. You can also create some variable called Boolean and you say maybe is admin, and you can also print that. So we have created three variables. Out of three variables, we have just assigned the value to a single variable called name. Rest two variables are not assigned any value. So what is the default value? If you don't assign, what will be the default value? If you don't know, that's not a problem. We are going to see it right away. Once you are done with this, you will see something. There are a few buttons called execute and execute highlighted. And then there is a checkbox called open log. So you just need to check this checkbox called open log and click on execute. Once you click on execute, whatever the code that you have written, if it is valid, it is going to get executed and you will see the outcome. I'm getting too much time here. It will not take that much time. And you will see something here, some big lines, and you don't understand anything. To see whatever you have printed, you need to check this checkbox called debug only, and this is going to print the system.debug which you have developed. And you will see here, line number 6 says name is Amit Singh, and then it says null and null. Now, if I open the code here side by side, you will see 6 is this line number, which says Amit Singh. 7 is this, and 8 is this. So the default value of any variable, no matter what is the data type, the default value of any variable is null. That is the important thing you need to keep in your mind. The default value of any variable is null in Salesforce, and this will help you in later point when you are debugging the things. Okay, that's how you could create the variables. You can also create the variables like, I'm assuming that you all know what is account, what is contact in Salesforce. So if you want to create a variable, an object of account, you can say you just need to use the object name account SEC, and that's it. That is how you will create a variable of your account. You want to create multiple accounts, like more than one account, you can create the variable like this. This concept, which is there in line number 10, will be covered in a separate video, so you don't need to worry about that. That is how you define the variables in Salesforce Apex. As of now, we have defined the variable in developer console only. Later in the coming videos, I keep saying you will learn more about how to define these variable at a class label or at a trigger or other labels. The next topic that we have is operators in Apex. What are the different operators? So operators are basically used to perform the certain actions or to perform the certain logic in your Apex code so that you can understand or you can get to know what is the outcome, and that outcome is whatever the outcome is coming, either it is intended as a business or not. So operators are basically, I would say, the whole soul, the heart of your Apex code or any code where you're going to use different operators to perform some calculations to get the desired outcome. In Salesforce, there are so many operators available out there. You can go to document, the official Salesforce developer document, to get and understand more about the operators. But here I have listed few of them. Like we have got arithmetic operator, which is simple for plus, minus, divide, and multiply. Then we have got assignment operators. One of them we have already seen, which is equal, pretty easy. And then we'll talk about these. We have got ternary operator, we've got logical and logical or, equality operator, increment and decrement operator, safe navigation operator, and null coalescing operator. These are some of the operators that we have in Salesforce. We will start with the arithmetic operator and then we'll keep moving towards the end. So you are already logged in into your Salesforce org. You are already there into your anonymous window. If not, just go to debug and open execute anonymous window. You will be back here. Now to perform the arithmetic operators, we need to understand on what kind of values we can perform the arithmetic operator. What is the value? What is the data type? So you will find it is either integer or decimal. These are the decimal or double, right? Then only you can perform the arithmetic operators. And what are those arithmetic operators? One is plus, one is minus, and then there is a divide, and then there is multiplication. So let's create two variables, integer a, and we will say a is equal to 10, integer, okay, there is typo, integer b equal to 10, and now we need to perform plus, minus, divide, and multiplication, right? I'm going to directly use the debug statement, but you could create a third variable, fourth, fifth, that variable, and do the assignment how. Let me show you basically. I would say integer sum equal to a plus b. So whatever the value that we have in a, and then whatever the value we have in b, do the calculation and assign it back to the variable called sum. So here we are working on three different operators, not three, two operators. One is the addition operator, which is plus, and another one is assignment operator, which is equal. So whenever there is this operator comes equal, that means whatever is there on the right hand side, do the calculation and then store it into the variable whatever there is in the left hand side. That is what here we are doing. So how it will do, behind the scene, it will say 10 plus 20 equal to 30. So if you go and do print sum, you will see the information is correct. Okay. I'm not going to perform minus, divide, and multiply. I will leave up to you so that you guys go ahead and play around with this. The basic thing is there, but you will need to go ahead. I'll highly encourage to go and work around all these operators. So 10 plus 10 is going to be 20. And if we execute this, we will see that 20 will come as a part of output when we check this checkbox debug only. You see here it is 20. That is the simple operator, which is arithmetic operator. Then there were some assignment operators. Let's talk about assignment operator first. And in the assignment operators, there are like plus equal, minus equal, in multiply equal, or divide equal. These are the assignment operators. So how does those work? So let's say we have these two variables, or even let's say only one variable called integer a. And now I wanted to add 10 more on this variable a. Simple value. I wanted to add 10 more into the value what is there in variable a. So what is the traditional way we will do? We will say a equal a plus 10. That is how we will do, right? We will say whatever the values there in a, that is 10, add 10 more into this value, calculate this because this is on the right hand side, and assign it into the left hand side variable, that is a. And that is true, we will get 20. If we try to debug it, we will get 20, right? This is one way of adding a value into the variable. The second way of adding a value is we can say a plus equal 10. So what does this mean is whatever the value that we have in the variable called a, add 10 into that value and assign it back to the variable a. So whatever we have written in the top is basically this is equivalent to this, or we can say this is equivalent to this. Both are same. In both the cases, you will see the same result. Let me execute it and tell you, you will see the same result in here as well. You will see 20 is coming as part of debug statement. So that is what your assignment operator said. This is also known as increment assignment operator. Similarly, you could do minus, you could do divide, and you could do multiply. Whatever you will do, this is going to say whatever the value you have in A, multiply it by 10 and assign it back to A. Now, if we talk about this specific thing is equivalent to this thing. That's what our assignment operator says. Again, I have tried it for the plus only. Go ahead and try it for multiply, minus, and division as well. Next that we have is ternary operator. And before we actually talk about ternary operator, we will have to talk about some other operators, some other building blocks. So let's park this as of now and we will pick it later on. Similarly for logical and as well, equality operator as well, increment and decrement operator. These are mostly used for the for loops. So when we will talk about for loops, we will understand that as well. And these two as well. So let's basically jump into the different thing, which is access modifier we'll talk about later on. Let's jump into the building blocks. Let's jump into building blocks first, and then we will come back to the variables, and then we'll come back to the access modifiers as well. So we have got if and else statement. Okay, if and else statements are basically the control statements, we could say. Control statements is like, for example, let me give you, let's say, if you complete your homework, you can go to play. If you don't complete your homework, you will have to wash the clothes. That's the condition, a simple condition. Let me draw something for you. So if I have to draw here, let's say there is a actor over here. Actor could be any user, and then here there would be a decision element, and the decision element is pretty simple. Assignment completed. If it says yes, okay, if it says yes, then what will happen is play football. Play football. If it says no, then you will have to wash the clothes. You cannot play the football. So you have to do this. So this is a simple if else. It says if some condition is true, then I'm going to do this. If some condition is not true, I'm going to do this. Or you will have to do this. This kind of logical statement you could also put into your programming languages by using the if statement. Now this is a very simple thing. If I have to write a if statement over here, this is pretty simple here. So how you will write is you will say if, and here you will have condition. We'll talk about that condition. And then you will have opening and closing curly braces. And let's say if the condition is true, that means play football. Or your whatever you wanted to put as a logic over here. So you will have logic here. Else, that means there is nothing. So you can say wash clothes. That's basically the thing that you have related to your if else. Your if can also be there. It can also stand without else condition. So you could say if you have completed the assignment, play football. Otherwise, don't do anything, sit idle. So it doesn't needs the if statement doesn't needs to have a following else statement. But if you want, you could have multiple else statement. You could have else statement as well. You could also have multiple if statement, which is known as nested if else. How? Let's first understand the scenario for that. The same scenario I'm going to copy paste over here. Sorry. Let's copy paste it over here. Yeah. So it says assignment completed, play football. Okay. And then if assignment is not completed, add another condition and give a chance, one more chance. And you will say a homework is not completed. You will say uh, clothes are clean. If clothes are clean, if the condition says yes, then go ahead and play football. If the clothes are not clean, then go ahead and wash the clothes. Now there is a nested, there is a two level of condition over here. It says, okay, tell me, have you completed your assignment? If answer is yes, okay, go and play the football. If answer is not yes, then again, have you clean your clothes? Have you completed the washing of your clothes? If the answer is yes, then okay, go ahead and play the football. If the answer is no, wash clothes. So there is a two level of condition checking over here. And that is where the nested if else come here. So it says if condition one, if condition one, then you will say else if condition two, and then you will say else. So these are the, this is basically nested if else that we have seen. It's nested if else. There would be multiple condition, and based on multiple condition, you would like to uh, play around with the things. You would like to put the logic there into your code. Let's see how this works in your code in the working demo. So let's quickly create a variable called integer a is equal to maybe 40 or 50. That's fine. Now we need to say if the age is greater than 60. Okay, age is greater than, these are the condition. Age is greater than 60. Age is less than 60 and greater than or equal to 50 else. So if our age is greater than 60, that means it's old age, old person. And then if age is between 50 to 60, we will say uh, we can say maybe, okay, it's old age. We will say okay, we can put anything, that's not a big deal. We could say medium age, else we could say youth. Instead of four here. Yep, that's what we are going to say now. Okay, so these are the three different conditions. There is a condition, there is a requirement where you are given a number called integer age. Based on the age, you need to tell if the person is old age person, if a person is in a medium age, or it's a person is youth. How you will identify, how you will do that. And this is where we are going to cover multiple things as well. So first we will use if statement, as we talked about, opening and closing parenthesis, that is also known as the, yeah, these are also known as the bracket, the small brackets. And then opening and closing parenthesis, not parenthesis, curly braces, known as flower brackets. Okay, this is the syntax of your if, and here you will have to put a condition. This condition must needs to give the output in the form of either true or false. This condition cannot give anything else. This must need to give you either true or false. So what we need to check, if this variable called is greater than 60. This symbol is greater than, and opposite to this symbol is less than. This symbol is greater than or equal, and opposite to this less than or equal, like that. Okay, so we are saying greater than or equal. Let's make it as greater than or equal to 60. We will put system.debug and we'll say old person. If that is not the case, if this is not the case, then we will check another. We'll say else if, and we will check this. Age is less than 60. Now there is a two condition. Age is less than 60 and 40. Basically, it is a between 40 to 60. So how you will put it? It's an and condition. Age should be greater than or equal to 40 and less than 60. So here you will use logical and this is what your logical and is. 2 ampersand, when it comes together, it would be logical and. Logical and means both the conditions, whatever you are putting here, should be evaluated as true. If any of the condition is not true, your condition will never be satisfied. Your logic, whatever you are writing here, will never be executed. That's what the logical and says. And on the other hand, if I use logical or, which is the two pipe sign. If we use these, that means either this condition or this condition is true, then this logic will be executed. So or is for any condition is true, and is for every condition is true. And if this is not the case, then we will say else the person is youth. The person is youth. So we have used basically, I have used the nested if else over here to make you understand all the concept in a single go. Like if age is, even I can get rid of this part, not a problem. This is pretty simple. If age is greater than or equal to 60, the debug statement will be printed as old person. That's it. Okay, let's execute. Let's not directly go into nested if else. Debug it. There is nothing because this piece of code was never executed. But if I make it as 70 and execute it, then you will see that piece of code was executed and we got that person is old person because of age is 70. That is the simple if statement without else. Okay. Now coming back to the previous option, in this case, we could say else system.debug and we could say not old age, not old age person. And make sure you use the terminator statement. If you don't use, you'll get the error. Missing semicolon at this line number 9. And you go to line number 9 and you forget, you scratch your head and forget, find out where is the error. So you will have to use semicolon and execute. In this case, we will find the statement which is executed in case of else, not the old age person, right? That is the if else. Now coming back to the whole logic which we had earlier written. Now here is what we have. The condition, what will happen? It says age is greater than or 60. Based on the current value, it will say false. Then if it says false, then only it will go to this condition. If this specific condition is false, then only it will go to this condition. Then it will say, okay, age is less than 60, that found true. Then age is greater than or 40, that is found true. That means the value is true. Then this will get executed. Okay, let's go ahead and execute this. It says medium age, right? We've got medium age. That is good. That is the line number 8. Now if I say let's if I make it as maybe 26. In case of this variable value, age is greater than 60, false. Age is less than 60, it is true. Age is greater than 40, false. So true and false means it is going to evaluate false. That means this condition is also false. Then it will go to else and it will be printed. Let's execute this. You can see here, youth is here. So that is how your if condition works. That is how your else if condition works. That is how your logical AND works. That is how your logical AND works. And if I change logical AND to logical OR, then this condition will true in case of this variable. Because now age is less than 60, it says true. If this says true, this condition will never get executed. That is also one thing. So your if condition, if there are multiple conditions inside if statement, then it is going to evaluate from left to right. It will always go from left to right. And it will start evaluating one condition at a time. And if all the conditions are true, in case of AND, it is true. If any condition of false, it is false. In case of OR, any condition true is true. Okay. That's how your logical and logical OR operator works. Now let's talk about null coalescing operator before we talk about uh, yes, let's talk about null coalescing operator before we talk about safe navigation operator. Okay, so how the null coalescing operator works. So as we know that the default value of this variable is age, sorry, null. Any variable, the default value having age, sorry, my bad. Any variable will have a default value of null. So what null coalescing operator says, if you know that, okay, if the variable value will have a null value, I'm going to return something as a default value. For example, if age is null, instead of putting like this, if age equal to null, then put age equal to something called 30. If the value of age variable is null, this is equality operator, which checks if the value of age is null. If this is true, then assign 30 as a age. That is what the simple condition, that is if condition we have. Now what Salesforce says is they have given us the null coalescing operator, which says with the help of null coalescing operator, you can get rid of this if statement. How you can get rid of this if statement is that you can get rid of this whole line. You could say age equal to age colon 30. So what it says, return left operand if there is a value in left operand, otherwise return right operand. So this is left operand and this is right operand. In case of age is having null value, it will return 30. Let's debug it. It is pretty simple. If your variable is having a null value, this value will be assigned to your variable. Simple. Now let's execute and we will see 30 as a value for our age variable. You see here, over here. Now if I change it, if I change, let's say age equal to 23. Now if we debug it, what value we will get? Correct. We will get 23, will not get 30 now because there is a value in this variable. Now if we execute it, you will see it is now printing as 23. That is how your null coalescing operator works. There is one more operator which is safe navigation operator that I'm going to skip as part of this video because for that I will have to tell you some uh, more concept which I don't want to put it everything in the single video. So that's basically what you have got as part of your operators. And I believe with that we have covered all the operators which are needed over here.